I would like to talk about is death. It's death, I said. Now, generally speaking, death is not a popular subject, even though life is extremely popular, which I don't understand. Death and life go together like corned beef and cabbage, like bread and butter, like vodka and caviar. Oh, I can see Tatiana looking very happy. There's nothing like some real beluga caviar with some ice-cold vodka. And you don't have to be risky to appreciate that. Just try it sometime. It's fantastic. The caviar is a little bit salty, and the ice-cold vodka. It's another topic. Pleasure moments. Where was I? Death. Let's talk about death, and let's see if we can make it as popular as life. First of all, they both lead to one another. Death leads to life, and life leads to death. Just look at the farmer in the field. He grows the crop, he kills it, he harvests it, grows it again. From the death of things come life. From the mud and the swamp comes the lotus, and from the lotus comes one of the most beautiful flowers in the world. The Buddhists have that straight. So death is a good thing. Dying is not as popular. Dying can be very unpleasant, lengthy, filled with suffering and agony and pain, and it's hard on people who are dying, and it's hard on those that care for them. On the other hand, it makes their enemies happy. Suffer. German word for it is Schadenfreude. That's when you enjoy hearing about your enemies suffering and dying, things like that. It's a form of happiness. But anyway, death is a really neat thing, and it's as necessary as life. And all things which live, in the sense of living, being born, growing, maturing, aging, as far as we know, they all die eventually. And that's good. We wouldn't want a lot of things to just keep growing endlessly. You'd make the world even more unpleasant than it is. So death should be a welcome thing, but people, apparently, thinking people, Homo sapiens or Homo sap, have been worried about death because it's like, you mean someday I'm going to become extinct, no more. And maybe a few people will remember my name, a few people might think of me pleasantly, a lot of people might think good riddance to rubbish. But the thing is, it's the end. And gee, if there was a way, I'd like to continue. Wait, there's something that promises I will continue. What is it? Oh, it's the Catholic Church. Oh, it's the Mohammedans. Oh, it's the Buddhists. Oh, no, it's not the Buddhists. Oh, it's the Jewish people. It's the Scientologists. Promise life after death? Well, that's for me because I want to be assured that I won't just go someday and that's it. I want to know that I am going to go on, never realizing that that urge to go on is just something I inherited from the body. Because bodies, if they could, would like to live forever. So you say, well, where did you get that goal to survive endlessly, to go lifetime after lifetime after lifetime? Well, it had to come from something. In my opinion, it comes from those things that live with the goal to survive. Now, if there really is something which we'll refer to as what you really are, it has nothing to do with survival or death. But, therefore, but coming back to death for a moment, how do you want to die? One of the things I used to do when I would sermonize each Sunday at a Scientology mission that I had in Palo Alto, I would ask people, if you could know exactly when you're going to die, and exactly how your body's going to die, in what way it would die, would you want to know? And I can tell you, almost universally, no one ever never said yes. In fact, they'd say, I absolutely don't want to know. In fact, if I did, it would spoil the rest of my life. I don't want to know where I'm going to die, when I'm going to die, or how I'm going to die. Why not? You want to know all kinds of other things about the future. Don't want to know that. It would spoil the rest of my life horribly. So people don't want to know this, and they go along in denial about something that is so popular that everyone that's ever lived has done it. You'd think it would be one of the most popular things around. Everybody's doing it eventually. Usually things people do are popular. Well, they can't help doing it. Nevertheless, they do it. They go ahead and die. Now, do you want to be a cause over death? I know the church is big on providing cause over life. How about a cause over death? Well, what do you mean by that? I mean choosing consciously when to die, and how to die, and where to die. Instead of, no, it's a crapshoot. Whenever it happens, I'll accept it if I have to. I don't want to, though. And I certainly don't want a long, painful, unhappy death. And I certainly want to be assured that as soon as the body dies, I can get another one, because I can't wait to start. Dump all that. Just decide, even though it's against the law, some people would call it suicide. It used to be very popular in other cultures. But in our culture, your life is in the hands of the doctors and the justice system. You're not supposed to. You mean I can't end my life whenever I want? No, it's against the law. That's suicide, and it's bad, and it's evil, and God doesn't like it, because He made you, and He can take you when He's ready. And the doctors, that's bad for business. Can't have people cashing in without us. So, on the other hand, though, putting aside stupid institutions like religion and medicine momentarily, because they can be useful if you know what to do with them, you can become cause over death by simply deciding when you're going to die, how you're going to die, where you're going to die, and what you want done with your piece in the game called life. Does that have appeal? It does for me, because I can envision not saying, well, when the body is hopelessly ill and sick, then I'll make up my mind about dying. No. No. I'm willing to step away from the big gambling, okay? I'm willing to fail. I'm more willing to fail.
You can go.
I have been told by our camera operator, producer, and director, Tatiana, that there was a short break due to, as they say in television, some technical difficulties. I shan't go into what that really means, but we're back and running again. We're up and running. And I was talking about the idea of being a cause over death, and saying that if you look at life, you don't have to, but you could assume this viewpoint, that life is like a big gambling casino, and you step up to the table, whether you're shooting dice or the roulette wheel, and you make your bet and you hope to win, and sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But the nice thing about casino gambling is that when you wish to leave the game, you can. You have freedom of choice. In a little lousy thing like a gambling casino, you can say at any point, I'm cashing in, ahead or behind, whatever, and walk away from the table. But there are all these things in regular existence that say you can't do that. You can't stop living when you want to. You must go on. The whole thing is to live as long as you possibly can, and not until your body is a degraded mass of sickness, crawling with disease or whatever, then you can consider leaving. Now that, I'm sure you realize, is ridiculous. you should be able to enter and leave life with the same freedom of choice that you have in a Las Vegas or Reno or Atlantic City gambling casino, because that's what life is all about. It's a crapshoot. You win, you lose, you give wins, you give losses, and it's a great game. Life is a game. In fact, Scientology defines life as a game.